Welcome back. The mainstream media meat puppets know it's so over and are in absolute overdrive, gaslighting the nation about the importance of our so-called democracy, which, as we all know, is not the type of government that currently exists in America or ever existed for that matter. But let's check out what establishment defender Joe Scarborough had to say about what this election is all about.
This year, you're not just voting for a Republican. It's a vote for a candidate who doesn't believe in the most basic principles of American democracy. And we could go down the list, but I really don't want to waste my breath on it because everybody knows about it. Everybody knows about, the killing of generals and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But you have Republicans, those Peter Millar vest-wearing Republicans who want to say, it's just like, it's Republicans and Democrats. What's the difference? No, it's a vote actually for somebody that does not subscribe to the most basic precepts of American democracy against a candidate who does. And it's really that simple, Donnie, isn't it?
If these clowns were actually doing their jobs and telling the truth, they'd be exposing the deeply rooted corruption that allowed for the corporate takeover of America. However, truth is not the name of the game because, as we know, it's all about manufacturing consent for Orange Man bad. Joining us now to discuss, director at MRC-TV, Eric Scheiner. Eric, thanks for being with us. It's great to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Well, Eric, I guess, watch out. Trump's going to steal the democracy that we don't actually have. I mean, is anyone still tuning into this garbage anymore, or is this all just an act so they can pretend like they have careers of actual importance?
Yeah, this end of democracy line is so boring. But again, when you can't talk about the economy or foreign affairs, these are the issues. I like Joe Scarborough, the killing of generals. What is he talking about? Soleimani? I'm not sure 100% where that one's coming from. But, the left always hears dog whistles when Trump speaks. Every time he says something, well, it's a code word. It really means this. It really means he's racist. It's really a dog whistle for this. I think the left, the word democracy is code word for tyranny of the left. That's what it's code word for. They fear the end of the tyranny of the left. It is ridiculous. Yeah, this argument is really boring, but they have nothing else to talk about. They really don't. They can't talk about what a great job Joe Biden's doing out there for the United States. So it's if you vote for the other guy, it's the end of democracy. But again, I think it's a code word. I'm going to stick with that.
Well, watch out, Eric, because Jen Psaki may be coming for you with your crazy conspiracies here, the meaning of words. She actually dropped a new line that she's dubbing conspiracy brain. Let's take a look how she used this new term. We'll play that and then we'll come back to you.
So in the usual flood of news this week, you may have missed the latest chapter in the MAGA effort to spread doubt about the integrity of our elections. And we love talking about stories that are undercovered here. So this week, Speaker Mike Johnson and a merry gang of election-denying Republicans held a press conference on the Capitol steps. And they were introducing a bill at that press conference that criminalizes something that is already very illegal: non-citizens voting in federal elections. But more notable than some completely unnecessary legislation and the press conference accompanying it is the narrative they're trying to push.
There is currently an unprecedented and a clear and present danger to the integrity of our election system, and that is the threat of non-citizens and illegal aliens voting in our election. It's true that Democrats have expressed a desire to turn non-citizens into voters. That's what this open border has been all about.
The combination of a wide open border and obstruction of any effort to verify the citizenship of who votes in our elections. These things are all combined in effort to end our Republican form of government.
Okay, every time Stephen Miller shows up at a press conference, you know it's going to be crazy. But there's a whole lot of conspiracy brain to unpack there.
Wow. I mean, everything I heard there was straight facts, aside from what Jen Psaki said. So I thought that was common knowledge. But I guess, if you have the ability to think for yourself and observe what's actually happening here, then you have conspiracy brain. Eric, I'm sorry. This is absurd.
I like how she says, it's already illegal for non-citizens to vote in an election. Well, it's already illegal for a person to cross the border illegally and be here illegally. But that doesn't seem to bother the Biden administration so much. If this is such a crazy thing, why does it, when it come to voter ID laws, like the one that was recently signed by the governor in Georgia, the Biden administration and Psaki herself as a spokesman, the president called it sick and un-American that you would have to prove who you are before voting by mail. Why would that be a problem? If it's already a crime, why wouldn't we enforce the crime? That's the problem that this administration and Psaki in general has trouble understanding. Well, the crime is the person's already here illegally. Well, we'll accept that. We don't have a problem with that. Well, you're just being conspiracists thinking they'll vote. Well, I don't know what they're here for. We don't know. We don't get to vet them. Maybe if we had a secure border, we could be a little more thought out about this. But yeah, she's a little off on this one.
She's clearly unwell. She needs severe help. I don't know. I just can't take the blatant lies anymore. It's just nauseating, honestly, to even watch. But with that being said, I do have one more clip of Jen talking that I have to play because apparently she just can't stop thinking about Trump. Let's take a look at this one.
I think many of them want to be close to power. They also assume or have this thought in their mind that maybe Donald Trump will go away. Maybe he'll go to jail. Maybe he will die, not to be too morbid, but maybe, he's not a young man.
Geez, she had to resort to that. That's brutal, is it not?
Well, it's interesting. They could talk about a lot of ways that Biden can remain president and win this election, but they don't talk about the polls.
Right.
They don't talk about voters. No, maybe Trump could die. There might be some projecting there on their case since the candidate for the Democratic Party seems to be a little on the senior side of things and not as mentally astute as he used to be, to say the least. So there might be some projecting there trying to Donald Trump is just as bad. But it's really interesting. They talk about all these things, the end of democracy. They talk about, maybe Trump will pass away. He'll die. He'll go to prison. They never talk about, or maybe Joe Biden would just win at the polls. I mean, maybe, is that an option? Is it? Maybe they don't think it is.